All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world you may be joining us from and what time zone you might be in. Thank you again very much for joining us for the MS in Marketing Analytics information session. In today's session, we're going to have an opportunity to really do a deep dive into the marketing analytics program here at Simon Business School. We'll have presentations including an in-depth look at the curriculum and then a little bit about some of the career resources from both our student life perspective and career support. We'll also have the opportunity to address some questions and answers. And what you'll see is at the bottom of your screen, you'll have access to a Q&A button. And the Q&A button is going to allow you to submit questions throughout the webinar. We appreciate those that have submitted their questions in advance. We'll try to get to as many as we can today. What we would ask is that the questions, please try to keep them as on topic as possible. If you have questions about your individual profile or background or things like that, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to cover that in this webinar, but we certainly want to have that conversation with you, and we'll have an opportunity to connect you with the admissions office offline at a later time to get a better sense of what your profile looks like. So we appreciate your time, and we wanted to start out by just giving kind of a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. So the first thing we're going to start out with is introductions for all of our speakers. Then we're going to go into a deep dive into the curriculum where you'll have a sense of what the class structure is going to look like and a little bit about, maybe some examples of class projects and other things related to the student and academic experience. Then we'll talk about the student experience for all the things kind of outside the classroom and the extracurricular activities, clubs and organizations, and those sorts of things. We'll round everything out with our session about the career support that you have here from our Benet Career Management Center and what resources are available for students. And then at the end, we'll talk about next steps and then open it up to Q&A from anyone on the session. So to begin and kick things off, we'd like to start with some introductions. So currently speaking, this is Matt McCormick. I'm Associate Director of MS Admissions and help to support all of our MS candidates as they come work their way through the admissions process, all the way up to the point where they're arriving here in Rochester ready to start classes. So I've been with Simon about 4.5 years and really happy to have everyone on the session. Looking forward to a great discussion today. With that, I'll kick it over to my colleague, Dennis, to introduce himself.
Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're calling in from. But welcome to Simon. Assistant Dean of Students, I'll be talking about our student engagement program as we go along here.
Hey, I'm Paul Nelson. I'm in charge of the academic side of stuff, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program pretty darn soon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sanket Gumase, and I work as a career advisor for the Masters in Marketing Analytics program. I've been with Simon for almost 3 years now. Fun fact, I'm also an alumni of the same program, so I'm quite aware of the opportunities and challenges that await you as you join this program. And welcome to the webinar.
Hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you. I'm Sophia. I'm currently a MSMA alum, or should I say someone that's finishing the program with the internship track currently. And yeah, I was in the same shoes as you just a couple of years ago, so I'm happy to share my experience in Simon.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone, and we look forward to some great presentations. First up is going to be Professor Paul Nelson. So the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, guys. I think we built a pretty unique program, and our whole idea is to help you guys, what we'll call build a personal brand, if we want to use sort of marketing terminology, and then enable you to essentially sell that personal brand. So we're going to figure out what you want to do. You want to make it whatever you want to do it a little better, and then figure out how to find a job with that and, sort of sell your wares in some sense. Okay. So this building your personal brand idea, we want to expose you to some marketing analytics concepts or just sort of analytics concepts in general, really. Essentially develop a toolkit, a set of skills for you, right? And then give you a bunch of opportunities to do those things in the toolkits, experiences in this marketing analytics arena. And so hopefully you'll find out what do you like, what don't you like, what do employers want to see, what are the kinds of things that get done, stuff like this. How do you approach problems, all that kinds of stuff, okay? And then we want to expose you to marketing analytics professionals, firms, employers, and we want to do this both sort of in-house at the school and also sort of externally through various events and stuff like that. Basically, we want to increase the ability for you to find a satisfying career. Okay, so that's sort of what we have in general. Now, this whole sort of curriculum, if you think of, I sort of think about 6 pillars, our next slide, which sort of gets at what we're up to. Okay, so the first piece, what people tend to want to focus on when they look at programs is, tools, state-of-the-art tools, software, statistics, theories, concepts, stuff like that. And software guys, Tableau, SQL, Excel. We've all just recently altered. Sophia actually didn't really have to learn Python, but now we're all doing Python rather than R. We're always sort of changing with the times, finding out what's sort of important or not. Right now, AI stuff is becoming a very big deal, so we're bringing in a bunch of that kinds of stuff into the program. Social media measurements, SEO for the online stuff, all these sorts of things. You're going to get exposed to all these sorts of softwares, but then also all sorts of concepts like regressions and statistical testing and conjoint analysis, big data stuff, segmentation tools, all this kinds of stuff, right? So we want to build this toolkit, and then we want to give you experiences to actually do it, because we think you'll learn better if you don't just hear about it, but you actually do it, okay? So you're going to get examples in lectures. You're going to get actually pretty, generally very recent data sets that you're going to actually get to apply these things to and come up with managerial relevant conclusions from the data, okay? So this learn by doing more than just by listening, okay? And there's a raft of extracurricular opportunities for you to utilize these things as well. Now, the second one, sort of develop this marketing intuition and communication skills idea. We don't want you to be sitting in the back room crunching numbers, okay? I think most of you guys want to be able to be a little bit more in the, forward focused towards more the client in a lot of ways. And your earning potential and most people's satisfaction with their job going to be higher if they're actually interacting with clients and coming up with what are the problems that we should look at. What are the tools we should use to look at that problem? Okay, what's the best way to package our results so that they get a persuasive presentation to the boss or the client or whatever, right? And so we've really built the program so that oftentimes in your classes, you're told, the company's interested in this problem. Go and figure out what do you need to look at? What's the questions you should ask? What data do you need to answer that question? What are the things you would tell the boss in order to answer that question? Whether, got an actual classes, we do this stuff, right? We had a class actually it's about, research design. We had a whole class that relates to just, what's the problem? What data do we need? How do we approach this? How do we best sell the results? And you'll see that in not just that one class, but in all the classes. Not to mention, guys, you're going to get presentation experience like crazy. You're going to do a bunch of cases. You're going to do things outside of class through consulting clubs and cases that you compete against with other schools and stuff like that. Little mini projects in class. Sophia right now is doing a project for a local grocery store, trying to figure out why are they losing sales in the beer industry. Okay, so and she's going to present to the client in about a month and a half. So we got lots of interesting things for you to do, and it's especially this sort of exposure to marketing intuition and these communication skills. We got a management communications course you guys all take to help you out with this as well. The whole idea here is that we want to be able to, data isn't helpful unless it makes an impact on the firm. And so you have to ask the right questions and you have to present things in a way that is going to get results. Okay, so we're really focusing on this. Okay, and we bring a lot of folks in from outside, alums and not alums, that talk about issues that they're worried about, all this kinds of stuff to just help you along with all these sorts of things. Okay, guys, all the faculty you have, are research active. Okay, most of these folks are doing the things that they're teaching you. Okay, they're probably doing things more complicated than the things they're teaching you. So they really know what they're up to. Okay, the faculty know, generate, and use these cutting edge tools. Okay, and you're going to get exposure to a lot of our PhD students, and I think sometimes they know this stuff better than we do. So you're going to get well-qualified people teaching you. Personalized attention, guys. The program's not immense. Okay, you're going to have reasonably sized classes. You know, a lot of the elective courses are going to have like 30, 40 people in them. You're going to work in small teams, so you get used to working with teams, which is something you have to do in real life. These courses are almost completely designed for and attended by only MS Analytics students, okay? So they're really, you know, they're focused on what you guys need to know and what you guys need to learn. The faculty are very available. The marketing guys especially are here basically every day. Come in and see them. Ask them questions. The PhD students are largely your TAs. You got oodles of access to these folks, and they know things, okay? Plus, there's all sorts of folks like Sophia who may well be tutors or mentors or things like this in these courses, which are great. You know, they've been through it, right? So they can tell you some things, you know, how to look at things and what problems will come up and all that kinds of stuff, right? Now, exposure to marketing analytics employers and in professionals. We're going to have some speakers in class. There's a pile of different student organizations and the CMC and OSE and all these different sort of organizations within the school actually also bring in people, alumni and sometimes not alumni, to talk to you about what do they do, what's interesting, what's the future look like, you know, all this kinds of stuff. You're getting projects both in class and these extracurricular ones. One of the things you have to do, guys, is seek out opportunities to make your resume more cool and more long, right? We need to do projects for companies. It's like little tiny, internships kind of are these projects, okay? They call them consulting, but I think of more as, as a internship opportunity. We got career days. Everybody just came back from New York where they were communing with a whole bunch of alumni and stuff like that. So we got all these sort of trips like that. There's also career days at school here. The CMC gives you guys, Sanket and whatnot. These guys give you lots and lots of individual attention, okay, to help you with firm information sessions, firm interviews on campus, off-campus interviewing help. We got to sort of set up in New York City for you to help you out, perhaps. We got all these sort of training for how you can interview better and develop your resumes and all this kinds of stuff, right? And guys, we have this project. You know, if you're not able to really, or you're not really seeking these experiences for you to be able to talk about in interviews and put on your resume, we make you do one essentially with the project course. Sophia, you want to say like 1 minute about the project class?
Oh, yes, sure. So we, for I guess a couple months now, right, started the capstone project. So essentially, we have a client or a few clients that come with a problem to Simon and suggest that the students get into groups and try to solve it through the use of analytics, through the use of everything, all the toolkit that we learned in the previous year. So this is the project that you really get to apply everything that you learned, all the experiences that you had, and you get to apply them to this real world project and get to present it to the client in person, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that moment, but so far we're in the halfway mark.
True enough. The other project we're doing right now, actually, guys, has to do with pricing. We're trying to It's a chain of food delivery stores, and we're trying to figure out what's the proper pricing for their delivered food. Pretty typical kind. Both of these are very typical kinds of projects. Why is something happening to a firm? What price should we charge? Who buys our product? Who doesn't buy our product? Really typical sorts of projects, all relating then to, what are some suggestions for how the firm can do better. So pretty neat stuff. The last thing, guys, is we're STEM, okay? Which, especially if you're not a U.S. citizen, is a humongous deal, right? It's a sort of seal of approval that helps you get, makes you unique and different, makes your brand stand out a little bit. And you also get the OPT thing so that, if you're from another country, you can, stick around a little longer and whatnot, right? That's really the program, guys. In sum, we're going to provide you skills and opportunities that you need to succeed. We're going to help you figure out what you'll want to do, and we're going to you're going to help you find out what you don't want to do, right? Who you want to sort of work for, who you don't want to work for. We're going to give you some unique and desired abilities, a little bit different from what you're going to get other places. We're going to give you opportunities to network, gain employment, hopefully, right? And this has to do with whether you want to work inside a company or you want to be a consultant. Whether you want to be really just a simple number cruncher, or you want to be someone who's a little bit more forward client facing. You want to work in consumer insights or marketing research or the digital realm or the AI realm or product management or whatever. We're going to try to get you ready for all that kinds of stuff. Okay. Now, when it comes to the courses, guys, we're starting next year. We changed the program again. We're getting rid of, we used to have a summer program. We don't have that anymore. And you show up at the end of August or middle of August, roughly. And you have a couple of, we split our semesters in half. So you have 2 half semesters in the fall, 2 half semesters in the spring. And if you're a non-extender, you're done. You're here for 4 terms. Now, if you extend, which a lot of people do, the vast majority of the people do, you're also here, you're hopefully doing something in the summer with an internship. And then in the second fall, those 2 little half semesters, you're doing a project like Sophia's doing. And most of those folks are also doing an internship or something at the same time, okay? So they're sort of like doing 2 internships in the fall, okay? So what do we got here, guys? The first two semesters, the two mini semesters that you got there, the fall, you're doing foundational stuff, guys. You're learning Python, you're learning Tableau, you're learning regression and t-tests, and you're learning about data visualization. And you're not R programming now, it's Python programming. Learning how to do some predictive stuff and some causal stuff. I teach the economics and the marketing things, so sort of basic stuff you need to know in order to actually come up with the right questions and sell the answers. So we got sort of a bunch of tools and then a bunch of ways to sort of think about why we use the tools and how to best sell the results of the tools and stuff, sort of basic stuff, right? And then in the second half in the spring, you guys are going to get to have more advanced essentials and electives, okay? I think we have 1 required course and everything else is an elective. And you're going to learn about research design, research implementation. You can get more into pricing, all this kinds of stuff. And all these electives, guys, we must have about a dozen electives is my guess now. And you get to pick like 4 of them, or if you really want to work hard, you can take a few more. And some of these are just more traditional, like consumer behavior or segmentation tools or data management, product management, okay? So some of them are pretty techy. Some of them are actually more theoretical and more touchy-feely in some sense, okay? We got digital classes, okay? You're going to learn how to do SEO and SEM and learn about Google Analytics and, social media monitoring, all this kinds of stuff, right? We got pricing classes, three or four pricing classes. We got 3 or 4 AI related classes. These last two guys, pricing and AI, we actually have what's called advanced certificates in achievement. If you take 3 of these courses, you actually get like sort of like a concentration in those areas, which is something else you can sort of talk about when you have interviews, right? This AI stuff, guys, again, as we see the marketplace changing, what are companies looking for? What are students looking for? We build these things into the program, right? And so these concentrations are brand new. Sophia doesn't get to do them, okay? And these AI courses are brand new in the last couple of years, okay? We keep adding pricing classes because there's lots of jobs in pricing, okay? Now there's lots of interest in AI, so we add in those, right? Okay? We're looking at even adding more digital classes because that's really popular, okay? So that's this idea, guys, is that, we want to get you the basics, then we want to give you some depth in the things that you guys want to learn about, okay? Then if you're not an extender, guys, you're going to actually take the project class in that second spring semester as well, okay? But if you want to extend, you don't do that, and you take another elective, okay? And then you go in the summer and you hopefully have an internship, and we help you a lot to try to line those up. And then in the fall semester starts, you start doing the project with me and Professor Prinzi, where you're going to work for an actual client, and it's essentially like you're doing an internship for that client. All along the way, you're working on your written and verbal communications, and you're being exposed to speakers, forums, projects, cases, networking opportunities, all that sorts of stuff, okay? Well, the beginning, we don't worry too much about the job seeking thing. The second half, we start to worry more about that, guys. Big deal here, just, we're trying to make you guys more interesting to employers and to yourself, okay? We want to build up your abilities, and we want to build up your ability to utilize those abilities and get people to understand that you have those abilities, and hopefully identify the things you want to do and that you don't want to do, so that you're a lot happier going forward. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Thank you, Professor Nelson. We'll hand it over to our colleagues at the Office of Student Engagement next.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Matt, and Sophia. So my office, student experience, Ainslie Office of Student Engagement. All that Paul was talking about, what I kept hearing is the connection between what I'm learning in the class and how am I putting it into play to make myself more interesting in the workplace. How do I use examples in the class to help me understand where I'm going with my career? I absolutely heard the connection there. And what my office tries to do is create a surrounding services to help promote you through that process, because that's a heavy lift, but fun and exciting at the same time. 3 areas that we set up to help you with advising. So you'll be connected with a person who can help you figure out your academic, social, and personal kind of journey. And if there are roadblocks or celebrations along the way, someone that you can kind of talk it out with and help you get through that. Certainly, we are more than just classroom and career, right? We are social activities, clubs, wellness. I have a team of folks putting together programming. Paul mentioned programming or opportunities, speakers, fun, exercise, could continue to be a healthy person while you tackle this challenge. The other area in my area is experiential learning. You heard the term case study. You heard practical learning. And these are opportunities that are worked through my office, presented to faculty in the classroom through projects, or worked through clubs as projects or community service opportunities where you can get your kind of hands-on learning on lots of different areas. Go ahead and change the slide if you could, Matt. Great. And so advising, just a little bit more in-depth help, certainly with course selection. although it is well mapped out for you. So there's not a lot of decision, and certainly, as Paul said, you'll be engaging with faculty and folks like Sophia as you decide what's best for you. But you have someone with some professional skill set behind you. We also, provide programming lunches where we bring people together to kind of talk to each other about what are the possibilities, what am I learning, reflect on where you're going, help each other out. Simon is about helping each other, not in competition with each other, to learn and ultimately get a career going. Team building, mediation. So teams are the concept that we have, that you're going to be working in smaller teams, just like in the workplace on class projects. And my folks help mediate if there should be team issues there. Because with any team, there's going to be tension. Go ahead and switch, Matt. Student life. So this is kind of we'll certainly have an orientation program. And Sophia is at the end of her journey, so she might be able to reflect on how orientation has helped her get to where she is now. But a lot of intro, foundational skill building, getting to know each other, learning about the resources here. Where am I finding things on campus? Kind of getting yourself established. Every club, we have 26 different clubs that are divided up into professional, diversity, or social, sports. We encourage folks to take advantage of at least 2 of those, if not maybe a little bit more. There's leadership opportunities there. We create networking events, social events throughout the year. We have a women's conference coming up in a couple of weeks. We have cultural celebrations from all over the world. We have different speakers. And we have a fall ball coming up at the National Museum of Play, which is going to be a lot of fun. Go ahead and switch. I guess what I'm saying back on student life is there's fun to be had in Rochester. It's a wonderful city, and you want to kind of avail yourself of all the resources in and outside the classroom. I mentioned experiential learning a little bit, but we have opportunities within MAC, which is our Master's Advisory Council, essentially a student council for our MS program. Lots of different clubs and organizations, case competitions all over the country, as well as locally here on campus, projects, courses that Paul has talked about, and experiential opportunities like real world money and in the Meliora Fund, where you can help, venture fund, where you can help direct, using your analytical skills, help create data that helps folks make decisions on where to divert our financing so that we build on those funds. And then consulting as well. Go ahead and change. Great. Oh, and we're back to Benet. So I will close out, and then we can transition to them. My team is trying to build an experience that augments, supports, gives you a off ramp from the classes, as well as a place for wellness and kind of continued enthusiasm for the decision you're making to get into grad school and get into grad school at Simon. So back to you, Matt.
Excellent. Thank you, Dennis. And we'll go ahead and hand it over to our colleagues over at the Benet Career Management Center.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you for the great insights, Dennis and Paul. So the Benet Career Management Center is really the one-stop shop for anything and everything related to careers. And our office makes sure that you are successful in getting your first job, and not just the first one, but you are equipped with skills that help you, maintain a sustainable, long-time, lifelong career. So we really begin with even before you step foot on the Simon campus. So once you're enrolled, you go through a robust onboarding program, which sort of exposes you to the different industries, the different functions, that could be of interest to you. Apart from that, we help you perform market research on what sort of roles are available in the market and what sort of skills you might be needing to develop as you go through this program to be able to be successful in those roles. We also have resume help even before you arrive at Simon. So we have this platform called VMock, which is an AI-enabled platform that helps you make your default or baseline resume and then get feedback from the Career Management Center office even before you arrive on campus. And with all of that toolkit that you arrive on campus, we make sure that we have some extended programming for you. So with that, we begin really with the career education series, which is a 4-part series or a 4-part workshop in person. And we start with the different career options that are available. We talk about how to brand yourself effectively to be able to be successful in these careers. We also talk about the importance of networking and expose you to some techniques and toolkits that can help you be successful in networking. And at the end of that, we also invite alums, to talk about the careers that they are in and how you can, sort of become ready to start in your career once you're outside Simon. Now, with alumni spotlights and events, as Paul mentioned, last weekend we took a trek to New York City. We had almost, 70 people, 70 students join us on the trek. We had alumni panels. We had networking sessions in the city. So, and that's just one part of what the Career Management Center does. We also do collaboration with clubs like the Simon Marketing Association, the Simon Product Management Club, or the Data Analytics Club, and, sort of plan treks and career days and company visits alongside them. Throughout the year, you will also be exposed to a lot of different workshops and webinars. So how to create an effective resume or how to create an effective cover letter, how to prepare yourself effectively for behavioral interviews or technical interviews, those sort of things. So we make sure that you receive the right support at the right time. We also have a lot of company information sessions. So a lot of companies usually would do like a Zoom information sessions, or sometimes alums or company representatives would visit on campus, and then you're able to meet them either one-on-one or in a career fair style. So that's what we do. And the best part, we know that everyone's career journey is different. Everyone is at a different stage in their life. Everyone comes with a different set of experiences and with a different story. And we want to meet you where you exactly are. And that's where the one-on-one counseling comes into play. You will have an assigned career advisor, which is me, but you will also have access to Benet Career Peers, which are second year MBA students, and they too help you out with one-on-one counseling for successful career outcomes. So Matt, if you can move to the next slide, I can talk a little bit more about the support model or the career advising support model that we've developed. So really, we have divided this model into sort of 3 phases. One is the applicant phase, then you move on to become a candidate, and then you finally get hired. And we want to make sure that we are able to help you out in each and every step of your career journey. So we really begin in the one-on-one session. The first few sessions you'll have with me are really about job search coaching. So we try to find out what is it that you love, what are the skill sets you currently have, and the skill sets that you're trying to develop, and what might be the right fit for you in terms of jobs. So we help you strategize these things. We help you think about how different career options come into play and what might be the right fit for you. And once you have decided, hey, this is what I want to do, then we help you out with the actual stuff, like creating a resume which is customized to the position that you're applying to, creating a cover letter which gets attention of the employer and sort of makes them feel that, hey, I want to hire this person, and as well as help you develop a strong brand on LinkedIn. So that's when you enter the candidate stage. That's when you start applying to jobs. And the great thing about applying to jobs is you start getting interviews. So once you are in the interviewing stage, we try to help you out with providing you help with sort of preparing for this interview. So you can schedule mock interview sessions with me or the Benet Career Peers. And we have support for behavioral interviewing, for case interviews, for technical interviews, and it totally depends on the kind of job you've chosen that you want to apply to, or the kind of career path you have chosen for yourself. And we do have experts in all of these different fields. apart from different resources as well that'll help you out and help you become successful as you are in the interviewing stage. And last but not the least, you know, the best part about going through the cycle is finally you get a job offer, and I mean, who doesn't want that, right? That's the best thing that can happen for you as you graduate from this program. So our services don't stop there. We help you negotiate the best offer, how to speak with employers, how to position yourself as a candidate with a lot of competitive advantage over the others that are in the market, and negotiate the best terms of the offer for you. And once you get that job, we don't leave you there. You get access to these career services up to 6 months after your graduation. So we help you develop skills and provide you with resources that will be helpful to you, not just to get your job, but also be successful at it as you move forward in your career journey. And in the last slide that I have, I'm going to talk a little bit about the career outcomes. But before that, I worked a lot one-on-one with Sophia, and I'd like for her to, sort of tell us a little bit about how her experience was with the Career Management Center and any tips that she might have for us.
Yes, thank you, Sanket. You're very right. I worked with Bennett Center a lot because actually when I was applying, I was looking forward to Bennett Center the most because my entire goal of coming to Simon was, get a job, but actually it turned out to be so much more than that. But speaking of the Career Center, yeah, I worked with Sanket. He was my career advisor for career exploration, for interview prep, for resume reviews, defining strategy, and generally, and a lot of times you will agree with me after, for moral support, just to stay sane. You want to talk to your career advisor, but I would just dive deeper into specific fields with Bennett career peers specifically, because all the students that get employed by Bennett Center, they come from such different industries and markets. And if you're still not sure what you want to do, definitely get a practical advice from them. And you can kind of go deeper into preparing for interviews or building your resume for their field with them as well. And overall, it just helped me navigate job search more smooth, stay sane, as I said, while doing it, and get a lot of advice and resources that I use till now. So really grateful for Bennett Center.
Thanks, Sophia. And in terms of career outcomes, and these are the outcomes that you can see on the screen, but really what we try to follow is the MBA Career Services and Employer Alliances standard for reporting. And almost like greater than 90% of the job seeking candidates get the job that they want within the first 6 months of their graduation. You can see the sample job titles as well. Most of our candidates try to get into fields into media and entertainment and tech. That's because they are right now the fields that most candidates are interested in. But really, we try to help you out with whatever goal you have set up for yourself in your mind. And as you can see, these are some of the sample hiring companies. Anelect actually hires a lot from us. They've hired a lot in the past few years. And from all of these sample hiring companies who are our sort of recruiting partners, we do get insights on what is happening in the job market, what are the skills that they're looking for. And we take those insights from the alumni working at these companies and bring it back to you and make sure that they are integrated in the offerings that we give from our career center so that you can be successful in whatever career avenues you're chasing. So that's all from my side, and I'll hand it over to Matt now.
Thank you so much, Sanket. Excellent. Well, we have just a few final slides to wrap everything up. First thing I wanted to talk about here is our 2025 application deadlines. I know that everybody on this call may be at a different place in their application journey. Some of you may have started an application. Some of you may be just doing some of the preliminary exploratory phase as you're exploring graduate school options. For our purposes, we have 5 different rounds of applications. We are currently coming up, as you can see, on the end of round number 1, and the deadline is going to be October 15th. What you'll see in the far right column for each of these rounds is a decision deadline. And so that is a guaranteed decision by that date. It could certainly be before then, but on or before December 15th for our first admission round. Every single round as you go forward has a particular window of time, and to be considered part of that round, you can submit your application at any point during that window of time. So you don't necessarily have to wait until all the way up until the deadline to submit your application to be considered part of that round. Now, one thing to be aware of is that if you do want to be, say, for example, a round one applicant or a round two applicant, by the time we reach the deadline and you're looking to submit your application, please be sure that your application is complete. If you're still waiting on something, if you're waiting on a test score, if you're waiting on some kind of document, we can't really move forward because you're not going to be able to add things to your application later. So make sure that your application is as complete as it can be. Frequently, the question will come up about which round should I apply? And our advice, and you'll hear this sort of reiterated in all of our other webinars that we do, more so on the admissions topic, is that to submit your application in the earliest round that you feel you can put your best foot forward. That's really our best advice. If it means waiting just a little bit longer to put some finishing polishes and finishing touches, maybe consider doing that. One other thing I wanted to address, and I know we had a question or two that came in about this, so wanted to let everybody know that those of you that are listening to this webinar live, an application fee waiver will be added to your account in 1 to 2 business days. The best thing is there's nothing that you have to do on your end. Everything is automatic and kind of in the background in our system. So it will match your email address that you use to set up your application account, and then also the one that you use to register for this session. So once you get to the payment screen, it will bypass it, and that's all that you have to worry about. And then your application will submit. You will be waived the $90 application fee. So if you have any trouble with that, please feel free to reach out to admissions. But in the meantime, we would also like for you to continue to connect with us. Our doors are always open to prospective students. As I said earlier, unfortunately, the questions about individual profiles are not something we can really get into in this particular webinar, but it is certainly a conversation that we want to have with you, and we open the invitation to come connect with us, and that can be done in a variety of ways. We have a check your eligibility feature where you can submit your profile and we can kind of give you some written feedback. You can also schedule a counselor meeting and have a chance to speak one-on-one with an admissions counselor. But this is a QR code I have up on the screen that will take you directly to the MS Connect landing page. And we would really invite you to come talk with us. And we'd love to explore your circumstances further and, hopefully find the best match for you here at Simon Business School. With that, I wanted to thank all of our panelists for their presentations. And at this point, we're going to open it up to questions. I did see some that came in during the presentation throughout the session. I appreciate those that have sent questions along. What we'd like to maybe start with is there's a question that came in asking about some prerequisite courses. And Professor Nelson, I think I'll bring you in on this one. Are there any prerequisites that you need to have to go into the marketing analytics program at Simon?
This is an easy one. No.
Awesome. So we we recognize that everybody's coming from different backgrounds, and that's the interesting part about our program. I think we see people from many different talents. I can say from an admission standpoint too, certainly there are no prerequisites that you have to meet before coming into this program. And I did want to bring Sophia in on this too. Can you talk a little bit about what your background was prior to coming to Simon Business School, Sophia, and kind of how you came across and found the marketing analytics program?
Yes, absolutely. So my background before was definitely not technical by any means. I just did a kind of bachelor's of marketing. So I had a lot of general classes, strategic classes, theory classes, but never where I had to dig deeper into analytics. And that's exactly why I wanted to come to Simon. The way I discovered Simon was through being in a Simon affiliated school, the University of Rochester, and somebody came into our class and talked about the benefits of Simon Analytics, and I knew it was definitely my next step. But yeah, I was quite nervous myself. I thought, if I haven't taken a lot of analytics classes before, will I have a good shot? Apparently, yes, because later a lot of my peers came from much less strategic and let alone marketing background than me. And everyone had a great time and were able to kind of be on the same page. So don't worry about your background.
Excellent. So I have a question. I can jump in and answer this one. I believe the question is asking, is it open to all students not minding the program done at the bachelor level? So basically, you do have to have a bachelor's degree prior to coming to Simon Business School. And one important point from the admissions standpoint is that Your bachelor's degree can certainly be in progress at the point where you apply. So for example, if you're in your senior year and you're looking at applying for the upcoming fall, maybe you're going to graduate in May of 2024, June of 2024, and you're looking at maybe 2025 rather, pushing myself a year forward, and you're looking at maybe entering the program in fall of 2025, that's certainly fine. And the reality is that we just need you to have all of your classes and exams and all of those things done because they can't overlap with the start of the program. And that's true for all the way back to orientation when you arrive sometime in August. So that to answer that question, yes, you'll need a bachelor's degree program, but any prior graduate study certainly is not a requirement. The next question I wanted to go to, and I wanted to maybe bring in Dennis on this one. I know that you talked a bit about experiential learning, and some of the questions we have, we sometimes see about the kind of international immersions. Would you be able to speak to those a little bit?
Sure. We have international immersions, which are tied to a class. So it would be perhaps part of your elective construct, but they are tied to a class with a faculty member that leads. It's a content area, but it leads to an excursion or immersion experience right now. And we are going to Singapore in January. We have done South Africa. We are going to Brazil and Switzerland in March time period. And then we have a domestic immersion into New York City, and we'll be looking at the kind of connection between business happening in Israel and how that is kind of viewed from an American New York City lens. And so all of those are immersions into international kind of business. I don't know if that helps. It's open. They're open to all of them. Almost all of them are open to all the MS students and MBA students. Some are kind of targeted more towards, like the Switzerland trip has more of a finance twist to it. The New York City trip, which can also be conducted in Israel, is more of an entrepreneurial kind of view. And so each are very exciting.
Excellent. Thank you. Wanted to go next to, and Dennis, I may bring you back in on this one, talking about so assistantship opportunities, and I think more broadly on-campus employment opportunities. I know that students in many cases are exploring that as an option to help offset some of the cost of attendance and also get involved in campus in a variety of ways. And Sophia, I know that you have some of that experience. So I'd love to hear from both of you, maybe starting with Dennis, just a little bit about maybe a quick overview of what student employment might look like and how it might fit with a schedule. And then Sophia, if you wouldn't mind maybe talking a little bit about what your experience was.
Yeah, there are no graduate assistantships. That's dealt with, Matt. If you could help me with the right language, through scholarship or fellowships.
Yep.
Right. And that would be known to you prior to your final decision to come to assignment. But there is no graduate assistantship in the traditional sense, how I would determine that, where tuition is reimbursed for work on site as a teaching assistant. Now, we do have teaching assistant type roles. We have proctoring roles. We have tutoring, which are all paid kind of gigs for all students. There's also some on-campus employment, especially for our international students who can't always find employment in the public sector off the campus. Those are important pieces. They are available. You're limited to how much you can work. Typically 10 to 20 hours is the max per week on that. And I don't know what else to say about that. I'll let Sophia fill in the gaps.
Yes, thank you. So I was working with the admissions office actually entirety of last year, and I was helping with sharing some information with students one-on-one, just like I'm doing now, or giving a campus tour to those that come. So that was my job. However, that being said, a lot of my peers, they found employment outside of Simon a lot of times. So it's either working as a marketing assistant or as an office assistant to some other department on campus, or, working in a cafe, helping out, with drinks and all that. So all of these jobs, they kind of pay similarly, but, you can either get something that's more focused that then you can maybe add to your resume or do some work like that. Or you can, because Simon program, I'm telling you, it's so intense that maybe the job that you do want is somewhere, helping out in a cafe on campus. Like I was jealous sometimes of those people. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities.
Guys, there's also, we have like a mentor program that some of the MS students mentor in when they're here for the fall, they mentor people that are just coming. And for example, I have 6 TAs. They're all MS students, and they help me out with my first semester MS classes.
Excellent. No, it's great to, yeah, I was going to say we hear a lot about the rigorousness of the program, and it definitely helps get you prepared, and balancing your time, I think is really effective. And maybe that's the kind of next place we can go is, 'cause there's a lot of things that you can get involved in, and, including we talked about student clubs and organizations, and of course you're spending time doing the career preparation with the Benet Center as well. And Sophia, could you talk to us a little bit about, when you came into this program, how did you navigate that? How did you find a good balance between when you were working in our office, but then also all of the time in class, but then also outside of class too?
Well, in my opinion, I mean, I did say that the program is intense, but that's what we came here for. So, kind of intense in a good way. You're basically getting what you came for, right? But in my opinion, Simon cannot be done properly unless you do things beyond academics and you get really involved with student life. It could be, in getting in a club, or talking with Benet Center, hanging out with staff, meeting an MBA student, going to a social event or a career event. All of the above, preferably. So I initially was glad that the club enrollment time didn't roll around until a little bit deeper into semester, because again, adjusting to analytics, meeting some friends, it took some time. But my first involvement was with clubs. I was in, I believe, 4 clubs, but 2 most actively. I would attend events pretty much every week, because I think you cannot do business school without going to events and talking to your peers and to people. Yeah, and that was pretty much my experience. I found a pretty good balance. You just definitely need to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and not perceive the academics is the only thing you come for, because Simon is truly a community and can be experienced with everything that comes with it.
Absolutely. Great. Well, I wanted to actually circle back to an earlier question and get maybe another perspective, and that is, having to do with coming in from kind of a different, maybe academic or even professional background. Most of our MS programs are what we consider from an admissions standpoint to be pre-experienced, meaning that candidates that come into these programs generally have maybe some internship experience or maybe some, limited full-time post-bachelor's degree work experience, but tend to be just kind of starting their careers. But I wanted to bring Sanket into this. And if you had somebody that was maybe coming from a different background, either academically or professionally, into the marketing analytics program, from a career support standpoint or career preparation standpoint, I was curious as to your perspective on where we are now, if there's anything that you might recommend that students look into, or any resources or any steps that they might want to take.
That's a really good question, Matt. Thanks for asking. In terms of, talking about the diversity of profiles that our candidates come from, I think that is good, because of that, you sort of get exposed to, these people in your classroom who are all different with different life experiences, and that helps you understand, and know about things that you might not have known about. In terms of finding a compelling, career opportunity, it really depends on what your strengths are. So in my one-on-one appointments and through the programming that we have, offered through the Benet Center, we try to help students, find out their strengths, their competitive advantage, just because of their uniqueness. So, for example, I had a student who came from a finance or a commerce background, and she learned analytics in this course. And after that, she chose to use the things that she learned in this class with regards to analytics and her previous background in finance, and then started working as a financial analyst for Goldman. And on the other hand, I had another student who sort of worked in social media marketing before this and really wanted to, utilize analytical skills to sort of become a client-facing marketing analyst. And she was able to take this program in that fashion and select the right set of electives, network with the right set of people, sort of find her sweet spot in terms of where the career lies and was able to work as a marketing analyst in a client-facing media firm. So it really is about what you make out of this degree and how you identify your source of competitive advantage. And we're here to help you out with that. So I would say if someone is coming into this program, they should understand that even though they might not have a lot of experience or a lot of internships, they do have life experiences that they bring to the table, and that everyone is unique. Just finding and realizing that you have a unique, profile and you're different from other people, it doesn't make you any less eligible for jobs. It just means that you are then able to position yourself as a unique candidate and then find what is the right fit for you, and then take all the support from the resources that you have from the OSC office, from the CMC, from mentors like Sophia, and from professors like Paul, and then sort of create your own journey and have a successful career outcome.
Thank you, Sanket. And I know we're running a little bit short on time, and I figure maybe where we could round everything out is, Sophia, if you were to have a message for those that are on this session today, maybe those that are just starting this journey, just taking these first steps, maybe some, just starting the application process, knowing what you know now, having come through the program and thinking about where you were in the same place, back a while back, what types of advice would you have? And, in terms of reflecting on your experience for the students that are just starting these first phases.
Well, in terms of just I want you to understand about Simon, and therefore understand about the application process. Simon isn't, as I mentioned, Simon isn't just a school, it's a nurturing and supportive and motivating community. So when you kind of are in the application process and all, I really invite you to think about Simon in that way and be your most kind of authentic self and be really genuine and clear about your goals. Be open about why Simon is really important to you, because we want kids here that kind of reflect our values and that can really add to that community. So that's kind of my reflection on what I know about Simon and how, maybe approaching the application process would be great. But again, if you do make it into Simon, truly just get involved as much as you can and take the most of it.
Great. Thank you very much, Sophia. And thank you to everybody who attended the session today. We really appreciate your time, and we hope that you found this to be really useful in doing a deep dive into the MS Marketing Analytics curriculum and program and student experience here at Simon Business School. As we go forward, we're going to have webinars on a whole variety of different topics, including things that may be more specific to the particular time of the year, such as the application process or preparing for an arrival, those sorts of things. And we'd encourage you to attend any other webinars that are of interest to you. But I also want to send a special thanks to all of our presenters today, and especially Sophia for volunteering her time to share her student perspective with us, to complement everything that we've been talking about. We really appreciate that. And we also invite everybody here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get every question answered, but we do invite you to reach out to the admissions office offline. Again, we'd love to have a conversation with you and continue to stay connected. So thank you again, everyone. We appreciate your attendance, and we hope to see you on the next one. Take care.